Hi, YouTube. It's Kim, and I have a very special guest on with me today to talk about food, everything food. It's Tarriss Saurer, who is a teen athlete nutritionist. And Tarriss, you do so many things. Like you just have such a plate of amazing things that you're involved with. So, do you want to just tell my subscribers like what you do?
Okay, yeah, sure. Primarily I am a teen athlete nutritionist, focusing on sports nutrition. And I work with families because obviously we all know that teenagers, don't feed themselves. So I do work with the entire family. I do a lot of genetic research on individual body types. I work on cellular health, detoxification inside the body, and then really like food planning for individual body types associated with sport.
Awesome. I'm so excited. Thank you for being here. I've never actually done this before. Usually I make videos and I just talk at the camera about food. And so my viewers, people who subscribe or potentially new subscribers, a lot of them know my journey with food. But for those of, who might be new to finding me on YouTube, I'll just kind of remind the old subscribers and the new that my journey, I have psoriasis and I've had it for over half my life. Tarriss, you know this. And it's about 10 years ago was the first time that I discovered that food was my medicine or could be my medicine. And at the time I was only like 35 years old. So I learned about food very late in life, being nutrition. And it's funny because I know food is nutrition, but I never looked at it as medicine before. I never actually saw the effects of food to heal something. I always suffered with this disease for so many years. And so when I discovered that food could help heal my skin, it was like just mind blowing. So I just would love to hear from you about like your journey with food and how you've come to learn how food was your medicine, or how, the beautiful, healthy impact it has on you, and just your whole journey with that. Like, what was that like for you?
Yeah.
You were young, tell me.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I always knew since I was young that I always had like this crazy connection with food and supplements and herbs and like curing yourself with like plants, you know what I mean? But you're young and you never make the connect. And
How young are you
I
talking?
mean, I was like in like early teens, like it was even before high school. Like I remember I would just I would always be reading like supplement books and vitamin books and like, how to cure yourself. Like God, if I had like a cut on my finger or like I had a headache or, I had like, what are those little things like the little warts on your hand or something, like, I was always looking into like, okay, how could I get rid of this, or how could I help myself, with something herbal? Like it was just in me.
Like you never heard from any of that from your mom or a random uncle, or like no one ever talked about this?
No, it was just in me. Like I am convinced that I'm like a witch doctor from like my past life somewhere. I'm like, I was definitely sitting in a tribe somewhere, like curing people with herbs. Like I have to be.
That's crazy. I was
Yeah.
like shoving bagels down my face like most of my life.
So listen, I was still eating unhealthy. I was totally eating unhealthy. I mean, I was a fat kid. I was like a chubby kid. What my parents sent me to, well, my mother and my stepfather sent me to Weight Watchers camp when I was 12 years old. Like I was not healthy. Like, I mean, I was an overeater. I would hide food in my room. I was like a candy junkie. I always had acne everywhere, all over my face. And it's interesting because I always associated like something's wrong in my body. Like acne is just not like thrown on your face. Like it doesn't come from the outside in, it comes from the inside out. So like I always knew it was from somewhere in my gut, like something that I was eating that was bringing out the acne on my face, dependent on where it was, right? Like somewhere down here, I was like, okay, it's got to be something hormonal. Well, I mean, I learned that after a while, but like, every thing that comes out on you anywhere. My personal belief, I mean, and obviously there's so much research on it, but it all stems from your gut. Any skin disorder, whether it's eczema, psoriasis, you know, whatever. But I mean, I fortunately did not have any of those issues like you growing up, but like, yeah, I always knew like food, man, food is the cure, even just supplements. You know, like I was a supplement junkie early on in life. Like I was like, okay, I know like if I'm depressed or I'm having issues here, like what can I take? I remember researching like about SAMe. I'm like, you know, 16 years old, like popping SAMe pills.
What's a SAMe pill?
So SAMe is works with the methylation cycle, and it works with your neurotransmitters to like fight off depression, give you energy, stuff like that. Like B12, right? B12 gives you energy. So like, yeah, I mean, I would just research that stuff and be like, oh yeah, okay, let me take that. Let me like, you know, boost my NADH. And
I never thought to read anything. I just always listened to what my doctor said, and he or she always said I needed medication, and that food had nothing to do with healing at all. That it was never, you know, proven to make a difference.
Yeah.
But yet I was seeing a difference.
Yeah, well, Kim, I think when we're like the same age, so I think also when we were growing up, that was like the very beginning of real nutrition, right? With people coming out and talking about it. Like how many chiropractors were there back then? How many naturopaths were there when we were like in our teens? Not many, you know, now they're everywhere. There's so many more studies. But it's interesting because I was just doing this research study on asparagus, and asparagus, you know, all of the good properties of asparagus since the 2nd century, like they knew how beneficial asparagus was for us. The 2nd century.
Well, you know, kale and asparagus don't make money, so.
Oh yeah, that's true, right?
So, like, how did you know? Did you always know you wanted to be a nutritionist, or
no idea?
Well, like, when did you become a nutritionist, and just when did you start feeling so passionate about food and healthy living that you wanted to dedicate your life to that and help others?
Yeah, I think I was in corporate America, and I was in my 20s, and I had a great gig, great job. I loved it. It was fun. You know, well, when I first went to school, I went to school to be a psychologist, right? Like a child psychologist. I was like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I want to save kids. And then like, I was like, okay, this is far too much for me. So then I'm like, oh, I want to be a designer. So like, I just love design, but I didn't realize that design for me was a lot more of a hobby than a career. So then I went, like I was always in the food industry, like since I'm 16 years old. So like my passion is cooking and food. I'm a huge foodie. But every time like I would go out, I would realize like, okay, I'm going out, I'm eating, I'm having this food, but like nothing would ever sit well with me. Like I always had a stomach ache. I always had a headache. I'm like, why do I never felt good like as a kid. You know what I mean? Like and you know, once I got to like a teenager, so I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, I don't think I could eat chopped meat anymore. And I wouldn't, right? But like, I still kept on going on with my life. But like, I always just paid attention to my body. And then one day as I'm in corporate America, I'm like, I fucking hate my job. I hate everything that I'm doing. I'm not helping anybody. This is not my real calling. I don't even know why I'm doing this. And like, my body was, you know, I got very heavy. I don't want to say obese, but I got very heavy in my 20s, in like my mid 20s. And I was just like gross. Like I didn't feel good about myself. I just wanted to be healthy. And like, I just totally turned my life around. And after I really turned my life around and I was feeling better and I was reading a lot, I was like, I want to go back to school to help people. I want to teach people that like, it's all about a healthy lifestyle. It's all about exercise. It's all about what you're putting into your body. And I went back to school and I researched and I lost like 50 something pounds. And I was like, if I could do this, and I'm an emotional eater, if I could do this, anybody could do this.
And how was your acne? Did your acne clear up?
Oh yeah. I mean, my acne cleared up in my 20s. My acne was bad when I was like a teenager, you know, but I just started feeling better. You know, like I had no idea I had lactose intolerant. I had no idea that I had a gluten issue. I had no idea that there were so many like meats, like the enzymes with meats, they just don't break down in my body. So like I started learning and realizing all of this. And then I started realizing later on, like in my 30s, like, oh my God, I have all of these genetic issues. And I had already started my business by this time, but I'm like, how many people don't know this? Like nobody's educated, So like, I just had this passion that I just wanted to teach people everything that I learned about my own body, like, because I just think it's so important.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I'm just thinking about something you said just made me realize, like when I first started to research food, for someone like me with psoriasis, the books and the research showed that, removing dairy, removing sugar, gluten, alcohol, coffee, like pretty much anything that was like acidic, like that
Yeah.
acidic food made you sick. And that more alkaline foods like vegetables and nuts and seeds,
Right.
fruits and things like that, legumes, helped you just be, just, that was more towards the healing aspect, and acidic was more towards the disease, getting sick aspect.
Yeah.
And so when I started to do the research on that and started to actually really put together the foods that I was going to now buy and prep and cook and eat, and as I took like that first year of my life on that regimen and started to see the difference, it's just amazing because, it was like a miracle in front of my eyes to watch my skin fade away after being on medication for like almost 20 years. And it really, it's like saddens me when some doctors today still say like, oh no, there's no proof.
This is medicine.
That, yeah. That like, and then I have some, I see a doctor that he has like Hippocrates quotes on his walls about food being thy medicine and everything. Like I try to always see more naturopaths for that reason, because I know that doctors don't have, nutritional education as part of their education. Like I know that that's not part of their studies. I hope that shifts at some point. I think it is now. But it's just interesting because back then I didn't know, most of my life, I never listened to my body. So when you say you listen to your body, right away I'm like, how did you know to do that? Because
I don't know.
long I didn't.
It's just so good. Like, and I was thinking about like going on the show with you, and I'm like, what am I going to talk about? And then, I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, well, like thinking about like, well, yeah, when did I get into this? Like, when was I really interested? And I thought it was interesting, the fact that I did listen to my body so early on. Like, why would I ever think to do that? Like, I remember being at a barbecue once, and I remember being 17 years old, and I remember being like, okay, today's the day I'm going to figure out what I eat and what affects my body. Like, I remember that day clearly. Like, and I remember.
Did something happen that day that made you think that? Like, I know for me, I had headaches for so long, and I never thought to say, what's the root cause of these headaches? I just was like, I might be tired. I might be stressed.
Yeah, I think what it was for me was I had a lot of buildup in my gut and constipation, and I wasn't pooping. And I remember being so bloated all the time. And I'm like, what the heck, man? I'm not pooping. Like, my stomach is out to here. Like, I wasn't overweight at this time, but like, I just remember being so uncomfortable, like all the time. And I'm like, I don't think this is normal.
And you kind of can't ignore that. Like that of bloat is like the worst.
Yeah. Like, I mean, and that's like such a strong message. If you're not pooping, you're not going to the bathroom the right way. Like, take a deep dive into your body. Something's not right. Like, I really, it irks me when doctors go, okay, yeah, well, there's some people that just go every 3 days and that's normal. And I'm like, if any doctor ever tells you that, run really fast. Like, that's not normal. That's not normal.
Yeah. You're like the poop queen, because I know.
Oh my God.
No, I'm just kidding. But I know in one of your workshops, like you actually talk about poop.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's great. You have like a little chart that like shows people what their, like what a healthy poop looks like and what an unhealthy poop looks like. Yeah. And I know some of the audience members are like, is she really talking about poop right now? Like, people don't realize how important that is. I remember when I changed my diet to more alkaline foods, that was the biggest thing I noticed a difference in. It was that I was going like once every few days to, especially as I got off the processed foods. like to every day and then multiple times a day. And I was like, what is going on?
Yeah,
And
and you feel so good. But
yeah, it feels good.
think about it, it's a toxin. Like all of that food that goes through you, right, and then sits in your colon, it's bad free radicals, toxins that's sitting in your body. Like, what do you think's going to happen if some of that stuff gets out and it doesn't release? It's going to sit in your body. Then where's it going to be expelled if it's not coming out of your colon?
Well, can I share something with you? When my sister was very, very young, she had an issue with going to the bathroom. I think she was just young and embarrassed to go, like if she was at school or if she was at a friend's house or something. So she didn't go at all. She would just hold it in as much as she could. And then fast forward, she was in so much pain all the time, horrible cramps. One day my dad had to take her to the doctor because it was gotten really bad and we didn't know what it was. Nobody knew she was holding it in. And she ended up like years behind on growing. She got her period when she was like, I think 20 or 21. Yeah, she was now she's, she has children. She's completely healthy. She's fine. But she was literally behind on growing. So it just shows you, and people die from that. Remember the little girl in Poltergeist, the little blonde girl in Poltergeist? She died from that. She actually died from that.
She had a buildup in her colon or something, or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know like the medical name for it, but it just goes to show you though, like the toxin, it's so toxic, like it can kill you.
It's so toxic.
Go to the bathroom regularly. I know it's bananas.
Yeah.
So I guess one thing I was thinking about asking you, just because I know it's something that we all struggle with, is especially for like the skin community, we know what we need to eat. We know what we need to eat more of. We know what we need to eat less of, especially if we want to see a difference in our skin, if we want to maintain like less, just have less, avoid flare-ups and maintain,
Let me ask you a question. When you say we know, how do you know? Like, because everybody's body is different.
Well, when I say we know, I mean a lot of people, many people in the skin community that I talk to, pretty regularly. When I say we know, I just mean we know that our skin, would heal faster and better and be maintained better with more alkaline foods in our diet.
Mm-hmm.
But that can be tough. Like, sometimes I just want like an acidic concoction,
right.
like
a pizza. Sometimes you just want to eat a piece of pizza.
Yes. And the thing is I don't want to live a life where I'm like, well, I can't have that. And I'm just depriving myself of everything because I don't want to live with that mentality around food.
Yeah,
of
of course.
I can't have that. I don't think that's healthy.
Yeah.
So, I let myself have something once in a while, but I also know that like, for example, I get psoriasis on my elbows. So like right now, you might not be able to see it, but I feel it. It feels bumpy. So, but if I kept eating pizza, you'd be able to see this very clearly because it would like just the skin layers start to just pretty much layer on top of each other.
Yeah.
And you'll see the scaly, silvery, white layers of skin cells. So I like to just like keep it as smooth as possible. I don't want it to come out. So I try to avoid pizza, obviously.
You need some Dermaspray.
What's Dermaspray?
So I'm really super obsessed with cell nutrition and cellular health and like, Kinton, the seawater.
Well, tell people what cell nutrition is.
But wait, let me just tell you, they have a spray that pretty much cleans up any skin disorder on the outside, from the outside.
From the outside.
From the outside. Yeah.
Because of the healthy ingredients in it, it's all natural.
So basically what it is it's 78 minerals in proper ratio, proper proportion of everything that our cells need, whether it's the interior cells in our gut, whether it's the exterior cells on our cells, whether it's, within our intestines, in our blood. So basically what it does is it clears and it regulates each of your cells. So when you have optimal healthy cells, you have an optimal healthy body.
And to have optimal healthy cells, it's a little of everything, right? It's like what we put in our mouth, what we put on our skin,
Yeah.
what we think up here. Like it's a little bit of a
Oh
combination.
yeah. I mean,
Right?
I am huge. I'm also huge with the energy aspect of what goes on in your mind.
Well, I have a question about that too,
Yeah.
but can you do me a favor? Because I know we don't have time today to go into cell nutrition, and I actually would love to post a link for that Dermaspray below so that people can look.
Oh,
That would
yeah.
be awesome.
Yeah.
But what I was going to ask you was, and we will get back to, because we have so much to talk about. We're going to have to do this again.
Every day.
But what I wanted to ask you was, okay, so, everyone falls off the track, right? With what we kind of know our bodies need to heal. So I just want to know, like, when you fall off the track, which I'm sure you do too, like, what are some things that you do to get back on? Like, do you just, because I know what you guys don't know about Tarriss is like, she's very much a like, move forward. Okay. You fall off, you move forward. Like you're so determined and you're so resilient and you're just so motivated. And I know with me, when I see my skin healing or I feel a difference in the smoothness, I feel motivated. And then I just want to eat so healthy because I just love the way, like, I'm just motivated. I'm driven to like continue. And a lot of the times, if we fall off the wagon, we get depressed and then we're just totally ill-motivated. So I'm just wondering what you do to get back on track.
Yeah. So one of the key things that I've learned is really good for myself and other people that I work with is whatever your weaknesses are in food, right? Find a substitute. If it takes you 3 months, like, what's an example? Give me an example of like a bad food that's
well, I have substitutes for this, but I love coffee. Let's pick a food.
So what about cheese?
Cheese, yes.
Right? Cheese is really good, right? So most people love cheese, right?
Cheese
So
isn't just good. Cheese is like addictive. It's
oh my
amazing.
God, it's like candy. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah. I'm a big fan of cheese. So if you love cheese and like you have cheese on everything, you have shake cheese, you have creamy cheese, you have, sour, whatever it is, find an alternate. And listen, not all non-dairy products are good. Some of them are quite gross. You just got to keep on investing and buying and trying. And I promise you will find something that will feed your appetite and that will feed the craving and make you actually enjoy eating it. So that's number one. Now, if you do decide you're out at a barbecue and, let's just say you didn't pack your stuff, you didn't bring it with you. I'm a big fan. Get a cooler, bring it with you, right? Because the chances are someone's not going to have that at a barbecue where you go. So, but let's just say you don't bring your stuff with you. And let's say you indulge and you fall. And let's just say you have like you're going over a family member's house and they're making pasta and meatballs and stuff. And you have a big thing of ricotta cheese. And then you have the shake cheese and the mozzarella cheese. And it's all over everything. Like, eat it. Maybe don't have as much as you normally would have. But then when you go home, like, forgive yourself. Be okay with that you just ate it, because within a couple of days, you should be able to fix yourself and get that out. So I'm a really big, huge fan of ginger to clean out the inflammation, drinking water with lemon, and also doing like green wheatgrass shots or green juices or smoothies, and then eating clean, like all vegetables for 3 days. And you're back on track. You've just cleaned out your body. Like, I mean, it's just that simple. Like, I know a lot of people, they fall into a rut. Oh my God, they just went out. They had a big pasta dinner. They freaking ate all of this cheese. Now, the next day, they don't forgive themselves, so they're going to do it again. And then they still don't forgive themselves, so they do it again. And then all of a sudden, instead of having this little itty bit, they're having more and more and more and more. When it's like, just get over it. Like, you had a good time. You indulged a little. It's like drinking. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Like, yeah, okay, maybe you drank a little too much. Forgive yourself. It's okay. Move right along. Like, I just think that that's the best thing. And also, like, clearing out the body of inflammation, clearing out the body of negative energy, getting your frequencies back on. Like, I'm really big on all those energetic frequency machines, like, to get your mind back. So we can talk about that another time, but that's super healing for people.
And what? They're what? Super healing for people?
It's super healing for people, yeah.
Yeah.
Because your thoughts of negative energy are putting negative frequencies in your body. So now, not only did you inflame your body, right, from the foods that you're eating, but now you're bringing your body negative energy. So now it's even doing worse for you.
And like, I know that every negative thought is a toxin, and it then fills your cells with negative toxins.
Yeah, and you can't get rid of them. It like holds on to them. It's like, ha ha ha, we're having negative thoughts. Now let's just hang on to all the toxins because it's making me happy.
Yeah, I want more.
Yeah, instead of just saying, okay, I forgive myself, I am good. Now let me get on my healthy path and let me cleanse my body. And
yeah, well, that is such a huge, just our thoughts and the way we treat ourselves. And the energy aspect of it, the emotional aspect of it is so huge. So, there's like, I always tell people, like, I have multiple medications. I have food as my medication. Talking it out with friends, talking things out with people is medication.
You tribe?
Yeah, having a tribe. One thing that I didn't tell you guys, I didn't even really say who you were to me, but Tarriss is a dear friend and colleague. And we actually have another YouTube show called The Love Group. And where we have 3 other women in that group, and we just basically have vulnerable conversation about multiple topics, anything and everything you can imagine. I'll add that link below as well to our other YouTube channel so that you guys can check, especially if you want to hear more conversation like this. I mean, we talk about it all. All right. So I think I'm going to stop here, even though there's so many more things I want to talk about because it's been a little while. So I just want to see if there's just one last question, because I have so many little things that I wanted to, actually, how I would love to end is, when we were talking before we started recording, I was talking to you about how most of the people watching probably have a skin issue that they're dealing with. And you were talking to me about a recent, because I know you don't struggle with the skin disease, but you were saying how you really related to or got a glimpse of what we might be going through recently?
Yeah. So it's interesting because I think that my body inside is so clean because I've just, for years and years and years, I've just taken care of, my cellular health and my body and everything, and my methylation pathways, which is so important, my detoxification pathways, that I, recently moved, and I went out and like I was spending a ton of money. So I'm like, oh my God, I got to cut corners somewhere. So I bought like cheap detergent and I washed my clothes, and I must have used too much or whatever. And I had such a bad reaction and I couldn't figure it out for weeks. And I'm like itching, and I have like red marks all over me, and it was awful. It was so bad. I was so embarrassed. I remember even thinking of you, saying to myself, oh my God, this is maybe what Kim felt like. And I just recently got into a relationship, and I'm like, I can't take my clothes off. I'm like, this is awful. Like I was trying to do everything possible to make myself feel better, and like I couldn't. I was like taking pictures, and I went to, oh my God, so many different doctors. I went to the dermatologist, I went to my skin lady, and everybody's giving me all of this stuff, and like it would go away in one area but come back somewhere else. And like I then found out like it was everywhere, all over my house. Like whatever I cleaned with, like all of these toxins just affected my clean, pure, gorgeous, beautiful body, and just was like, like, came out in me and was like, toxic.
It was probably the chemicals, I imagine.
Yeah, all the toxic chemicals that's in all of this crap that everybody buys. It was awful. It was like, I didn't sleep for days. I just itched and itched and itched.
Yeah, psoriasis is very itchy as well. Like I have some psoriasis right now on my scalp, and it's the most itchy. And what's weird is it's the one place that when I eat really well and like really reduce my stress, it's the one place where it goes away. The first place it goes away is my scalp. So I have a little bit there now, and at night, like it's just so itchy. I wake up and my pillow has like little white flakes all over it.
Oof,
and can you imagine if first of all, I'm married, and thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God. Thank God. I mean, like, it's fine if you're single. I love being single too. But, somebody you're just dating, like, you'd be like, get off.
No, well, that's what I mean. Like, thank God you're not on the dating scene and like you roll over and some guy you just like shagged with and you're like, oh my God, what's all over my pillow?
Instead, my husband's like, you should again. Like, he's just whatever. He doesn't care. But there was one time where Mike, my husband, had, he got, what is it called when you get, is it herpes on your lip?
Yeah, herpes, cold sore.
Yeah. So he got a cold sore first time in his whole life, like 2 years ago. He was working the whole month of Christmas, working very hard, 7 days a week. Like, he never had a day off. He was just work, 12 hours a day. By the end of the month, he had this huge cold sore and he was mortified. It was so unattractive.
Yeah.
He's like, for the first time in my life, I actually understand what it might feel like to be in your shoes. Yeah. Because like, it's on the outside for everyone to see. He goes, anytime a customer talks to me, I'm just thinking that they're just looking at this thing. Yeah. And he's like, I'm so embarrassed. Like, I've never felt shame like this about something on the outside of my body. And I was like, welcome to my world, our world, everyone, like anyone, there's millions of skin sufferers because it's on the outside for everyone to see. So it really impacts your self-esteem, you know? Yeah. It's just tough to deal with, you know? And I think as I get older and now, you know, I'm doing all this work to really like love myself with or without this disease. And it's really working. And I see it and I just want to give it love. If I see it or if I feel it, I just want to give it love. Like I used to like hate on it, where now I just want to give it love. I want to give it green smoothies. I want to give it what it deserves, you know?
Yeah. And I think that that's really important. I think it comes down to what you want, right? Like if this really upsets you on your skin, right, then you want to fix it. If you really, truly want to fix it, if it really, truly upsets you, then do the right thing, right? Like give it good, healthy food. And you know what? Don't get frustrated about it. Like, just like you said, give it love. Whatever that means to you, give it love. If you have to like, you know, wipe soap water all over it, then do that. If you have to wipe coconut oil all over it, then do that. If you have to, you know, I don't know, cut up a cucumber and rub a cucumber on your arm. I don't know. Eat the cucumber. I have no idea. Like whatever makes you feel good. I don't know if essential oils work, but whatever makes you feel good to get rid of it. If that's what you want, do it. Like, why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we all have to kind of just get there when we're ready to get there. And I think conversations like this are so inspiring, at least to me they are. It just keeps me on the track. It keeps me moving in the right direction. So I try to listen to conversations like this all the time and podcasts and this, that. So, and be in conversations like this because it just keeps everything refreshed in my mind and reminds me, you know, the reminding portion of it, I think is so big, just constant reminders, you know? Yeah. But I definitely want to have you back because we have to talk about cell nutrition because I think it's really important for people to know about. And also I want to talk more too about just food in general, like healthy, like acidic versus alkaline, and maybe even give people some ideas for some substitutes.
Yeah, and also I would love to, you know, educate people a little bit more on gut health and the science behind gut health. Because when you hear science, sometimes for me, when you hear science and the proof on, you know, what your gut could actually be preventing, you know, it might make you shift a little like, oh, okay, well, you know, maybe this is something that's quite accurate and maybe it's something I should dive a little bit deeper into because that's what science is telling us, you know, how to treat your gut.
Yeah, there's a book called Healing Psoriasis, and it's by a chiropractor named Dr. John Pagano, which started off my whole journey. And in it, he has the best definition. I actually can't remember it exactly. I need to go grab the book, but I'll share it next time. But it's exactly about how basically psoriasis is just toxins that instead of coming out of our poop, are coming out through our skin.
Our skin,
yeah. So you know, all due to gut issues. Yeah, I definitely want to delve in deeper with that too. That would be great. So let's do this again, like very soon.
Yay!
Tarriss, thank you so much. And will you do me a favor? I'm gonna put it below as well. But would you just let people know like your website and where they could potentially contact you if they wanted to?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for having me on. This was so much fun diving into skin issues. But you can find me at pronutritionrx.com. ProNutrition is all of my handles for all my social media. and that's what I got. I mean, personally, Tarriss at ProNutritionRx is any email. If anyone has any questions, I'd love to answer questions and help anyone I could possibly help.
I love you. Thank you so much, Tarriss. Okay, so until next time, hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you soon. Bye.